Hello and welcome back to the True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Michael.
Well, you guys ready for Stalker series part 2, baby?
Hell yeah. I know I am, dude. I know we could probably just keep doing this series forever, right?
Yeah, we
There's
say
a
that
shit
every
ton of
time.
Stalkers.
And what's funny is there's actually like a video game themed one in this as well. So like the video game shit keeps coming up. We've mentioned how we could just keep doing the video game murders. We could almost make a whole podcast about video gaming that's turned to murder.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, because video games have been out so long now, it's like almost everyone has some type of video game that they've been infatuated with, at least for a short amount of time. You know what I'm saying?
I think
like
10 years from now,
games.
there's not going to be a murder that doesn't have a video game element to it, because we're going to be living in, you know, what's his name from Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's
Metaverse?
world of virtuality. And
Yeah, we're going to be living in the metaverse. There's going to be a bunch of when are they going to start charging people?
So every
for
time you
virtual
beef with
crimes?
someone, it's going to have started in the digital space, you know.
Oh, of course, right.
Someone like egged your digital house, and then the next thing you know, you're like showing up at their real world house while they have the headset on and murdering them.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, when are we going to start charging people for these virtual crimes? Right? These people who like
the technocrats got to
skins.
benefit from it financially too. You know, they can't just
Right?
let that go. They got to make every penny they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really think Facebook and Instagram and shit are like throttling everybody's stuff since they went to these where you can buy promotional ads now and you can boost post, you can pay. Ever since they started doing that, I feel like our influence and our crowd reach and stuff has went way down
because
they want us to buy ads. Yeah, because we're not paying.
Yep. No, that's what it is. It's their platform. They can kind of do what they want with it, I suppose.
No doubt.
And if you don't pay up, you ain't going to get seen. So
I know, right? It's crazy. We got like over 8,000 followers on Facebook. We put up a post, it gets 10 likes. I'm like, 10? What the hell? Like, how does that? Where's this math coming in?
Right.
Like,
well, I think
just
part of
don't
that
make
is
sense.
like it's become kind of a ghost town too. Facebook, there's just not as many people actually actively using it. You know,
I guess
everybody's
people
over
are
on TikTok. Which stay tuned to Mashup Stalker series part 3. We're gonna have a TikTok murder in there as well.
Oh, we gotta have a
TikTok stalker murder.
I wonder how many of those there are.
Oh, I'm
Man,
sure there's been a lot in the last couple of years, because that's like there's so many celebrities, quote unquote, that have popped up that have been made through TikTok. So.
Well, you should search like OnlyFans stalker murder. I know there's got to be a pile of them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, gosh, a platform like that, you could see how somebody could get addicted to one person and be looking for them. Mm-hmm. That's scary shit. You got to be careful what you put out there. Got to be careful.
You almost need like if I were a really popular OnlyFans girl, I would just like mislead them. I would have like a TV that looked like a window in the background and have like a fake backdrop of like London or something. And meanwhile, I'm like in Alabama or something.
Yeah. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah,
whatever you got. I mean, you could do a deep fake with your face. I mean, if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could literally deep fake your entire
deep fake
face.
Shit's crazy. Yeah. Don't even get me started on that.
I know, right? Or you could just use a filter all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the filter technology is insane now.
And getting back to this Stalker series, though, I had an interesting thought this morning that I wanted to bounce off of you.
Okay.
So you know how there's like 7 billion people on the planet,
right?
Do you think that out there somewhere that there is your stalker? Like, you know how they always say there's at least one person out there for everyone?
Yeah.
There's got to be at least one person out there that would be so obsessed with you, no matter what you look like or who you are, whatever. There's a stalker for everyone. Like, do you think that's true? At least
like maybe
one, right?
we haven't.
Obviously,
like
there's some people that
met
attract
them.
a lot more stalkers, but
yeah, absolutely. I think there's some people that are just more stalkable than others.
I just wanted to scare everyone. Just so you know, if you're listening to this, there is a stalker for you out there. It's just a matter of whether you run into them or not.
Yeah, maybe you haven't found them. Maybe they don't even know you exist yet.
Exactly.
Right? But you're saying there's a type of
you might
person.
go to the grocery store today and find your stalker.
Oh.
It sounds like an advertisement.
Yeah. More than likely, I'm
there's
just going to
a stalker out
find
there
someone.
for you.
Right.
But wait, there's more. If you're hot, there's way more.
There's way more. Send us a picture. We'll tell you how many probable stalkers you have.
We should do that. You probably have at least 67 active stalkers at this moment.
Right. Due to the symmetrical quality of your face,
right,
you have thousands of stalkers.
Right. Please curl down on your body. Oh yeah, you have way more.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
All right, we're getting off
We're
the
not
rails.
far from that technology.
We're getting off the rails. You ready to jump into Stalker series part 2? We have 2 cases once again for this one, and they're pretty interesting. So
yeah, they are. Let's do it, man. I'm just an average man with an average life. I work from 9 to 5, hey hell, I pay the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. But why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone? And I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. I always feel like somebody's watching me, playing tricks on me. When I'm in the shower, I'm afraid to wash my hair, 'cause I might open up my eyes and find someone standing there. People say I'm crazy, just a little touch, but maybe showers remind me of Psycho too much, and that's why I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. I always feel like somebody's watching me, playing tricks on me. I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. I always feel like somebody's watching me, playing tricks on me.
All right, for our case this week, case number one, we are going to travel once again across the pond. I feel like we've been doing some UK cases quite a bit lately.
Yeah, I like that. I like to hear your Australian accent every time we do.
I know. Okay, just so it's clear, Michael knows that the UK doesn't include Australia, but I can't do a British accent without sounding Australian for some reason. Just to make that clear.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So all right, mates, let's get into this.
Probably get a bunch of feedback. These idiots don't even know Australia's not.
If you don't know, I'm from London, mates.
Right,
crikey.
Right. Where are you from? Nottingham. Yeah. I think that's how you say it.
Nottingham.
Yeah.
So we're going to England in 2007, where we meet 21-year-old Joanne Whitten, who was an environmental science undergraduate. And every day after school, Joanne would return to her flat above the Orange Tree Pub in Nottingham, where she shared with her boyfriend, Matthew Pike. And together they ran a website. And Matthew was a computer science student of Stowmarket, Suffolk.
Right.
He always loved computers and gaming and planned to someday make a career out of them. And together, Joanne and Matthew, when they would get home from their long day at school and work, they would run a website called warscentral.com. Warscentral.com.
Wars Central, okay.
Yeah, which was, from my understanding, it was a site which facilitated the sharing of ideas and strategies for this game that they loved called Advance Wars, which is a very popular Nintendo game that's kind of carried on through the years.
Right. It came out in 88, I believe, but it's had like numerous reboots, and I think it's due for another reboot this year, actually. I found a recent article that's saying that the game's coming out again.
Yeah. And so we'll talk a little bit about this game. It's a advanced war video game. The story takes place on a fictional continent where two nations, Orange Star and Blue Moon, have been fighting each other for years. The conflict enters a new stage when the Orange Star commanding officer named Andy is accused of attacking the armies of two other nations, Yellow Comet and Green Earth, without reason, resulting in a worldwide war. The game was released to critical acclaim and has been listed among the greatest video games of all time. And like you said, it's kind of continued to have reboots. And it sounds like it's a turn-based strategy war game, right? Which are very popular. Yeah. I talked recently in Just a Banner how one of my favorite games to play still is Civilization 5.
Right, yeah.
Which is turn-based strategy war game.
It's funny, like the names Orange Star and Blue Moon. It sounds like a beef between two breweries or something, right?
Totally.
It's like,
Blue Moon literally is a beer.
Yeah, Blue Moon really is a beer. I guess that's what kind of threw it off.
Yeah.
But Orange Star and Blue Moon. But there's actually other, I guess, nations that are all color based in this game, from what I read.
It reminds me, we watch Avatar, the animated TV show. You ever watch that on Netflix?
Oh yeah, like The Last Airbender.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of the whole concept of this reminds me of that, because it's like the different colored nations.
Fire
you get the and the Fire Nation, of course, goes against everyone and attacks unprovoked.
Of course, because fire is evil for some reason.
Yeah.
So
the objective in this game and each mission is to defeat the enemy's army. There are two ways to defeat an opponent: destroy every one of the opponent's units on the map, known as routing the enemy, or capture the opponent's headquarters. And on warscentral.com, the website that Joanne and Matthew ran, Joanne went under the name JoJo, while Matthew called himself Shade. And this was the couple's social life. They were on the right track going to school and all that, but they didn't have much time to go out and meet people, so they just spent all of their free time on this website and on that game.
Right. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, and they would be up till a lot of nights 2 a.m. playing this game and running their website. In 2007, Joanne and Matt met a man named David Heiss through their website warscentral.com. David was a 21-year-old trainee sales representative from Frankfurt, Germany. So they're in England, he's in Germany. He starts getting very active on their website. He chose the nickname Eagle the Lightning and would spend up to 8 hours a day on the site exchanging tips and strategies for advanced wars.
It probably sounds better in German. That's what I thought. The first time I was like, Eagle the Lightning. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. That's a good point. It definitely must be more German centric.
Yeah. I'd like to hear the translate. Although the German language rarely sounds better. I think, to me, personal opinion, it's a rough language. It's a rough language.
Unfortunately, Heiss was interested a whole lot more in Joanne than he was the game, it seemed. After an initial lighthearted chat, Heiss started bombarding Joanne with messages and emails declaring his love for her.
Yeah, that's not a red flag, huh?
Right. But
somebody else doesn't have a social life either, I'm willing to bet.
That being said, like, I don't know. So far, it's like, okay, we got a guy that's being a little too pushy on there. Like, they have the power of the website. You could think you could just block him. He's in another country and you move on. Unfortunately, it's not that simple sometimes. Some stalkers are a lot more motivated than others,
Also, usually this isn't how it starts. Usually it just doesn't start with them bombarding them with messages. They've probably played together a few times, in this game, online, whatever, teamed up, and it was pretty harmless for a while. But then it's like you kind of get to know these people that you play online with every day, even though you never see them.
Yeah.
And like I tell my kids all the time, like they play with the same people pretty often. And I'm like, I know you feel like you know them. I know, but you don't.
Right.
You have no idea who these people could be. Like these stalkers, these creeps, they'll play the long game. They're not afraid to. They'll pretend to be your friend for years until you slip up and give that information.
One of the video game cases we did was like that, where the dude he like flew and acted like he was going to do a seminar with the girl or whatever, and he ended up killing her. Yeah.
Yep.
They had been playing together for a while and they thought they were friends and whatnot. And
Yep.
Turns out he was just obsessed with her.
Yep.
So in June of 2008, the couple, Matt and Joanne, they arrived home to find David Heiss outside of their flat. So came all the way from Germany to hang out with them.
Wow.
And amazingly, they let him stay at their house for 3 days, but before kind of like booting him. But when he visited again a month later, Joanne rejected his advances and blocked him from access to the site. So now he's showing up every few weeks whenever he can basically facilitate the means to get there, pay for a ticket or whatever.
Yeah. And I'm sure he was kind of like surprised the first time, or maybe like, I'm in town.
Right.
But it's crazy that you would just let somebody you meet the first time in person stay with you for 3 nights.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was bold. That was really bold on their part.
Especially when he'd been bombarding Joanne with messages. That he's got an unhealthy kind of thing for Joanne here.
Like if you're Matthew, how can you let this happen? You're like,
no,
this is not happening.
Right.
Not happening.
So in mid-September of 2008, David Heiss sent an email to Joanne saying that he, quote, had something I would like to give you. And
that's never good.
Yeah. And a few days later, on September 19th, Heiss flew into Birmingham and took a train to Nottingham. With a knife tucked into his waistband and wearing thick garden gloves, he forced his way into the flat, launching a ferocious attack on Matthew Pike. So he had waited until Joanne had left for work and basically broke into the home. And I almost imagine Matthew Pike, like, headset on, playing the game, and all of a sudden
just gets bombarded.
Yeah, gets bombarded, and he would stab Matthew Pike 86 times before heading home to Germany the next morning.
Times, dude.
There's some rage there. And yeah,
holy shit, 86. He took that shit personal.
Yeah,
like Matthew must have kicked his ass in that game.
What's incredible though
is
that David actually, or not David, Matthew Pike actually was still alive when he left after being stabbed 86 times, and he was able to write the first 3 letters of Heiss's first name, David, in his own blood on the side of his computer to alert police to his attacker's identity. So he was able to write DAV on the side of his computer in his own blood to try and get the killer caught. For this trip, David Heiss had only spent 16 hours in the UK, and Joanne would return home from work that night to find that her boyfriend had been brutally murdered. And obviously she had a pretty good idea of who it was, especially when she saw DAV written, the first three letters of this creep that had been stalking her's name. So David Heiss would be captured and extradited in November and charged with the murder, November of that year, 07. And he'd apparently brought the knife from Germany, which is crazy. We talked about it was tucked into his waistband. It's like, dude, you couldn't have just, you plan on breaking into the home, acquiring your own knife or whatever, but apparently he had dumped it in a trash can and it was never recovered.
Wow. Well, I guess it worked then.
Yeah, I suppose.
His disposal technique. But I'm sure he left way more than that behind.
It makes it creepy to me just thinking that like he's making this long trip from Germany to England, and he's got this knife tucked in his waistband. It's like the whole time he's like looking at this knife and thinking what he's going to do with it. That thought freaks me out.
Oh, hell yeah, it does. Yeah, he's been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew exactly what he was going to do.
Yep.
The prosecutor, Sean Smith, said, quote, "It was an act that was born out of obsession and hatred in equal measure. It was an obsession for Joanne Whitten and a hatred for Matthew because he was Joanna's boyfriend. I have no doubt that at some stage you decided that Matthew had to die and that your killing of him involved a substantial degree of both planning and premeditation, which is a significant aggravated factor," said Justice Keith.
Yeah, because
wait, this judge's name is Justice Keith. Fuck yeah.
Justice Keith. Perfect. Or wait, he's probably just a court justice, right? Or...
The judge, Justice Keith. That's what it says.
Oh, that's his name. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You have to think that, the first time that he came by and stayed for those 3 nights, like they have to be considering that as part of the planning too, right? You have to. He came there. He's seen how their house was laid out.
Yeah. He knew the layout of the home.
Yep.
He knew a little bit of their
what type of locks they had.
Yep.
He's seen where the computer was. He knew where Matthew and her were going to be most of the time. Like he learned a lot in those 3 days, and I think it just gave him the confidence to go through with this.
100%.
Should have never let him in.
Yep. It wouldn't even be. I mean, I don't know how he gained entry. It said that he forced.
No, I mean the first time.
I know. I'm saying, but like I was just thinking, like the first time he could have even potentially, during the course of 3 days, you're gonna find yourself, alone, being able to wander the house or whatever during that time, whether they're asleep or whether they're distracted playing the game, and you say you're going to the bathroom. He would have been able to maybe get a spare key or steal one of their keys, and there's the amount of like premeditation he could have been doing, knowing what he was going to do later. Would have been all too easy.
I think the same way, man. I just can't trust anybody I don't know in my house. I'm just like, nah, I'll talk to you in the carport. Like,
right.
I'll meet you in the driveway. I'll be right out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you say, you just never know. I'm always thinking that. Like, it was nothing.
Were you always that way, or were you always that way, or did this podcast kind of like make that more extreme?
I think as an adult and as a father, once I moved out and I had kids on my own, and I always thought about them, then from that point on, I was suspicious of people. Can't in my house. I was, always make sure all the doors are locked, everything like that. But my dad has always been paranoid in that way growing up. So I guess it was just kind of instilled in me. I'm like, okay, this is just what you need to do. Just better safe than sorry type of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I always think like if somebody wants to come in and use the restroom or the phone, I'm just like, fuck no. Like you could get so much information in my house going through my cabinets and shit. Like, no. I don't.
Yep.
Can't do it, man.
Better safe than sorry for sure. Go find somewhere else to pee, bro. That's
right. Right. There's phones everywhere, man. Go find another one.
You should have one in your pocket, motherfucker. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. So the victim, Matthew Pike, his mother was an English teacher, and she described her son as modest and easygoing. Kim Pike, 49, said she did not blame the chat rooms and websites for her son's death. Quote, we didn't know anything he did on the computer. We just knew he was good on anything to do with computers. He was obsessed with it, really. She also said, I don't think internet chat rooms are a bad thing, but people need to be careful about the information they give to other people. Matthew was quite naive. He was quite trusting. He expected other people to be like him. And that's kind of what we just talked about is,
yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way the dude could have known where they lived if they hadn't kind of made that known to him. I don't know how he just showed up at their flat, and spent those first 3 days. They must have maybe he was, a hacker and somehow got a hold of that information. Third party paid
address.
Who knows? But It sounds like from what his mom's saying that they just naive and they gave him the address and said, hey, if you're ever in the area, drop by or something like that, which
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Apparently turned out to be a big mistake.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be careful, man.
David Heiss denied the murder and said he was acting out of self-defense and was given a life prison sentence and told that he would serve at least 18 years in jail for it.
Did he have any defensive wounds?
No.
That you know of?
No.
Nah,
no. He got the jump on Matt, and Matt didn't have any way of defending himself. Like I said, I almost imagine Matt was sitting there with his back turned playing the game. And you know that David Heiss already knew the layout of the home, so he could have easily snuck up behind him and stabbed him several times before Matt even knew what was happening.
God.
So what's crazy is 18 years, right? And this was in 2007. So he could be getting out in a few years potentially if he only gets those 18 years. That's a scary thought.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I mean, that's already 15 years ago. So
right.
He could be getting out potentially in 3 years.
And you know, he's probably not a very domineering figure in jail. I mean, I don't know what this guy looks like, but
yeah, I don't imagine. I saw some pictures of him. He doesn't look that scary.
Yeah, so I'd imagine he's trying to be on his best behavior to get the hell out of there.
Right.
So yeah, that's the type of person that usually gets out in 18 years.
Also, the type of person that often repeats their actions.
Repeats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say he's not going to go try to find Joanne again?
Yeah. Yeah. That would not feel very comfortable if I were her, right? I mean, the guy was already willing to go from Germany to England multiple times and ended up stabbing your boyfriend 86 times. Like, you want that guy walking around the street? How can you ever feel safe again if he gets out?
Seriously. And he was a grown man at the time. It's not like an adolescent.
And he didn't it's not like he even he didn't even like say sorry or like admit that he had done it. He still denied and said he was acting out of self-defense. So
exactly.
I don't know.
That's crazy. They're delusional. And 18 years is no time. That's what we're learning here in this Stalker series, that they can hold a grudge for a crush for a long time.
That's a great segue into our next case, Michael. Great job. Because the next case, this man spends over 20 years in prison and gets out and immediately goes right back to stalking the person that
See, that's what we were talking about with the Stalker 1 case with the 15-year crush. We're like, man, if he goes to prison, he's still going to come after her.
Yep.
If he goes to prison for an assault or for stalking or for whatever it is, he's just going to get out in a few years and come right back. And look, 15 years, this guy, he gets 18, and then this person 20 years later, still a stalker.
Yeah. I think also, like, it's almost easier for that to happen when all you're doing is sitting in jail, Like,
that's
what
true.
else is there to think about?
It makes it worse, right? That makes it worse.
You don't get the
why
chance
am I
to
in
move
here?
on and find a new person and all that, like, and move past your obsession with a certain person. Like, you're in jail probably just thinking about them all day.
Absolutely. Like, they would have just seen the amazing person that I was. We could be together and be happy right now.
Someday I'll make her know it.
Right. Stupid Matthew.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Delusion. So let's move on to the next case where we have another more than 2-decade obsession, which results in tragedy.
Shouldn't have, though. This is a big system failure case right here. Another one. This one will downright infuriate you.
Yeah. So for this case, we're going to go to Washington, D.C., where we meet Sylvia Diane Matthews, who we can say pretty clearly the entire system failed. But she was a beautiful person. She coworkers at DC's insurance department called her Sylvia. Her friends called her by her middle name, Diane, and her family called her Dee. Dee had never had children of her own, but we know a lot of people like this in our families. They're everyone's mom in a way. That was Dee.
Yeah.
She had several nieces and nephews that she acted like a mother to. And unfortunately, she met the wrong person. A guy named Michael Tyrone Garrett, who served more than 2 decades in prison before he would come back for her. And we'll get more into that in a minute, but let's talk about Michael Tyrone Garrett, who she would cross paths with, get into a relationship with, unfortunately, and it would haunt her for many years. Michael Tyrone Garrett was born in 1952 and had no father in his life. His mother gave birth at 15 years old, and he also had 3 siblings and 3 children that he lost contact with himself. Starting in 1975 with a gun conviction to the 1980s charges and or convictions for kidnapping, multiple burglaries, assaults, rape, cocaine possession in DC and Maryland. Garrett had 32 arrests and 14 convictions by 1999.
God, still walking free.
So lifelong criminal. Yeah, I mean, this guy.
God, he had a rap sheet.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the three strike rule, right? But like when you start get to like 30 straight arrests,
it's like 30
can we just
strikes?
lock him down for like a long period of time and not put
right.
him out on the street next week so he can just go rob someone else, you know?
Right. Like these are serious convictions.
Yeah,
too,
man.
Kidnapping,
assault,
burglaries,
rape,
assault, rape, cocaine, possession. Yeah, man, he's crazy.
Kidnapping. I mean, kidnapping and rape right there. Like, I think you should never get out. That's just me.
Yeah.
But like, especially when you've done it a few times, you know, it's clear you're just going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
So
inexcusable.
Unfortunately, in 1996, Garrett met Sylvia D. Matthews. Her family said at the time that Sylvia was a drug abuse counselor at the old DC jail in Lorton, Virginia. So this is where she meets him. She's acting as a drug counselor at the jail. She meets him while he's in jail.
Oh, he becomes obsessed with her.
Maybe she thought she could fix him. I don't know.
Or maybe he took her professionalism as her hitting on him. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to be. She is a therapist, right? So I mean, or a counselor rather.
Counselor, yeah.
So she's there to be kind and to listen to you. And you know, we've talked about it before. Some men can misinterpret those signals very badly, and I think this is a case of that.
Well, I mean, she did start a relationship with him, so there was something there. At least she gave him a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
So they were in a relationship after one of Garrett's DC jail releases in 1998. And it didn't take long for her to realize she had made a mistake, because in November of that year, 1998, while in a car together, witnesses watched as Garrett attacked Sylvia in the face with a hammer.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a signal. Yeah.
It's like, wow. She suffered major face wounds and unsurprisingly broke up with him following this. But I think y'all could guess that this wasn't as simple as that for this scumbag. He wasn't just going to like let her break up with him and that's that. He moves on and finds someone else to beat with a hammer.
Right. Like a psychopath, man.
In January of 1999, Sylvia was at her home that she shared with her mother on Elmira Street in Southwest DC. I mentioned the street name because this house saw some shit, and especially the basement, over the course of the next 2 decades. It's kind of a creepy scenario where like it's like deja vu, you know. He attacks her in this basement severely one time, goes away for a couple decades, and then ends up attacking her again in that same basement many years later. So in January of 1999, Sylvia was at that home on Elmira Street when Garrett broke into the house by prying to open the door. She ran to the neighbor's house to call 911, but when police arrived, they found Garrett in Sylvia's basement with a crack pipe.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So he's broken into her home and he's just down there smoking crack. And this I just, once again, I don't know how this guy just didn't get locked up for life. After, like when you start looking at the body of evidence as to what type of person he is, you know, you're just like,
yeah. So he didn't hurt her in this first break-in.
No,
he just
I was
broke into her house.
Yeah,
and it's just hanging out.
Yeah,
smoking
but
crack.
that basement would later be the scene of Sylvia's murder.
And obviously, he was getting hyped up to probably go up and murder her. I mean,
he truly just you could just see time and time again he did not give a shit about going to jail, because too many times he'd been put there and then gotten out, and then just when you're
afraid of it,
boldly just breaking into homes in the middle of the day and then like smoking crack in their basement. When the cops get there,
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't even trying to flee the scene. He was just did not care.
No.
So Garrett would be sentenced to 24 years in prison for multiple burglary and assault charges. So finally, they looked at the body of evidence here, and they're like, "This guy is just going to keep being a menace to society. We have to put a real sentence on him."
Yeah.
However, there was a legal debate about whether the sentences were to be served consecutively or concurrently, which would be a very unfortunate problem, because they clearly chose concurrently rather than consecutively. They chose to let them like overlap each other, which means he got out much sooner than he should have. So that, depending on that, whether they determined to be consecutively or concurrently, his sentence was to end either in 2023 or 2035. Clearly they went with the former.
Yeah, obviously.
Court documents revealed that in 2014, while in prison, Garrett was attacked in the cafeteria by an inmate on drugs. His eye was stabbed with a spork, and he became blind in his left eye.
Because it'll hurt more, you twit. Got him with a spork.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I feel like that's all a spork is good for. What a stupid device.
Well, it's good
what
for
those little tiny
scooping eyes
on the front even going to do? You can't even pick anything up with it.
Well, that's why they give them to him in prison.
I'm totally anti-spork. And I'm one of the people that like thinks that a fork is good for very little. I'm like a spoon guy all through and through for most things. Like if I'm eating pasta, I'm using a spoon. Like I need I eat fast. I need a lot in one scoop. And
What
like
if the noodles
I hate sitting there poking 1 or 2 noodles at a time. I just scoop them up, man.
What if the noodles are too long for the spoon, man? They keep falling off the sides.
No, I make it work.
You make you balance them
you
on the spoon before I get
spoon,
that fucking
you get real good at it. I'm clearly being like I'm joking a bit, but I still do think that a fork is like, people use it more than they need to.
Yeah,
a spoon
is
best in most scenarios.
Yeah, but not spaghetti.
But a spork is worthless in all scenarios unless you're stabbing an inmate in the eye. That's about it. Right. But then again, even a fork would do the job better. You could go deeper with those long prongs than just the little stubby prongs.
Right. Well, they don't give them the long prong.
But then when you're done, you can't scoop the eye out as good with a fork as you can with a spork. So you can stab and then scoop the eye out.
So maybe the only good thing a spork is used for is stabbing and scooping eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll redeem you on that quality spork.
The more you know.
The more you... But throw your forks away.
Exactly. I'm keeping one spork on hand just in case from now on for self-defense purposes.
There you go. If you don't have one, I think KFC has a shit ton of them.
They do specialize in sporks, right? Like the only fast food place that has sporks.
I know. They always have sporks.
That's because they got those mashed potato chicken bowl things.
Oh, yeah,
It is kind of handy for that.
You might need both.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was stabbed while in prison. He was stabbed with the spork and became blind in his left eye. Then his right eye later developed glaucoma. That's called karma, motherfucker.
That is. That's what you get.
He complained of constant eye pain, and medical records show that with glasses, he still had 20/20 vision, which seems crazy. If he was blind, if he was blind in his left eye and then glaucoma in the right, how the hell with just some simple glasses is he? I think maybe he was being an exaggerator.
Yeah, or maybe he had 20/20 in just one eye. Maybe one eye. Maybe the eye he got stabbed in healed up enough to where he could see out of it. But I don't know. No, you said he became blind in his left eye and then developed glaucoma in his right.
So the glaucoma must have...
It depends on where the spot shows up, right? Depending on your vision. Because like some people, the glaucoma like happens in the middle.
I think he was lying and trying to get sympathy so he could get out on parole or some shit. That's what I think. Because, I mean, we see signs of that later. Probably. He tries to play the victim card here.
Oh, okay.
Prison psychologists determined that Garrett had a temper and an inner rage at his parents for not being there. Quote, I need someone to love me, Garrett states. Also in prison, he threatened a female guard saying, quote, if I get back out of the compound, I'll show you what type of man I am. These are the sort of things that need to be, kept in records. And then when the parole hearing comes up, it's like, he also said this while he was in prison, like threatened an inmate guard. Like,
yeah, he's kind of a creep. It's like, hey, bro, if you need someone to love you, why don't you be someone that deserves love? Huh? That's how you get love. Like, what the fuck? But, there's an argument to be made that he truly wasn't loved as a child, right? His mom was absent. His dad was absent.
Yeah.
He had no... I mean, I guess if you're never shown how to love, it can be quite difficult.
Yeah. So for these offenses and the violent nature of his past, when he applied for compassionate release from the federal prison in West Virginia due to his cellmate getting COVID-19, the U.S. Attorney's Office opposed the January 2021 court motion. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he's trying to play sympathy cards about being blind or whatever, his inmate or his roommate having COVID. It's like, I'm sure the whole prison had it, first of all.
Yeah, seriously. I hope he got the vid too with his glaucoma and his fork eye. Yeah. Fuck him, man.
Yeah.
Take all these ailments at once.
Yeah. So his pro bono attorney convinced federal judge Robert Okun that due to his age, his failing eyesight, and pledges to never contact victim Sylvia Matthews again, that he was no threat to society. And sadly, Garrett was released in March of 2021. So the judge bought into his bullshit. And, he promises to never contact Sylvia again. He gets out and what do you think happens? What do you think happens?
Did he contact Sylvia?
A little more than that.
He made contact with Sylvia.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
So in the U.S. Attorney's opposition, prosecutors said due to the age of the case and the closure of federal court records, they have been unable to notify the victim or the family about possible release. So not only did they release him in March of 2021, but they also did not let Sylvia or her family know that he was released. So now he's just walking the streets and they think he's locked up.
You don't think that shit's done on purpose?
What would be the motivation for them to do that on purpose?
A little bit. So they don't have people protesting the release of this criminal.
Okay, I can see that as a motivator.
And causing a big scene. Yeah. I mean, because
100%.
Sylvia, she did work for the government. I'm sure she had plenty of powerful friends. She knew people. Yeah, I mean, if I was her family and I knew this man got released, I'd be out there protesting, be like, "What the fuck? You can't let this man walk."
Yeah.
You know, by keeping it quiet. Oh, it's already said and done. We don't know where he is. It's already been approved. Good luck.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't know.
So supposedly that inability to contact Sylvia's family about Garrett's early release did not appear to be a factor in the judge's decision. Judge Robert O'Coon's office declined to comment later after finding out what he went on to do. Yeah. Of course, there should have been some serious pressure put on them after that. Like, you made a massive mistake releasing this man, and then to not warn Sylvia about the fact that he was out there. That's like unbelievable.
That's the very least you could have done.
Yeah. So Sylvia's family said nobody within the family had any idea the man convicted of beating and robbing Sylvia knew about the early release. That being said, Sylvia had been on high alert ever since dealing with Garrett all those years ago, more than 2 decades ago. She had 4 locks on the back door, 3 locks on the front door, baseball bats by the bed, and in the basement, it was like Fort Knox, according to close family members. So many locks on the basement door.
Well, you don't get over that type of shit. That kind of shit sticks with you forever.
I say that, and then I think that, spoiler, she gets killed in that basement. That's just so fucked.
I know.
So fucked. I know. So on October 7th, 2021, Sylvia called MPD because Garrett was outside of her door demanding to come in. She declined his demands and he tried to force his way in, verbally threatening to kill her. MPD responded and arrested Garrett, but for reasons unknown, U.S. Attorney's Office declined to prosecute, and he was back on the street.
Makes no sense
to me. It's just like part of his release from prison that he spent 24 years in there for.
Yep.
Was him saying, I'm not going to contact Sylvia. Now he's at her door pounding, trying to get in and threatening her. Lock him the fuck up for life now. Like, he just seriously broke everything. Like, no.
It's over. You had one condition.
Yeah.
Do not contact her. Yeah. Stay away from her. And you immediately go back.
Yeah. Yeah,
man, that's strike 40 or whatever the fuck for this guy. Like, he should be put in prison forever. Yeah. And this failure really costed her.
Yeah. So on October 15th, Garrett's probation officer filed a notice of noncompliance to the court. His probation officer reported visiting Garrett at a homeless encampment near 9th and K Street in Northwest BC to remind him to not have contact with Matthews as he pledged. Oh, just so you know, you said you wouldn't contact her. You already did. Don't do that. Bad boy.
Don't do that.
Slap on the wrist. Bad boy.
Gosh, Garrett, come on.
Yeah. As he lives in a homeless camp, I'm sure he's really going to like, okay, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah, he's got so much going for him and so many opportunities. I'm sure he's not even thinking about her.
Yeah. The probation officer wrote that due to the October 7th arrest not being prosecuted, no further action should be taken other than increased supervision.
Which didn't happen either, apparently.
Nope. Because on October 22nd, Sylvia told MPD that Garrett confronted her outside of a grocery store near her place of work. And at the time, she worked at the DC government processing insurance claims against the district, which was only a 20-minute walk from Garrett's tent. So he's near where she works all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's found out where she works,
Well, he knew that already, probably.
Mm-hmm. So Matthews said that Garrett took a corkscrew to her throat and threatened to kill her on this occurrence when he confronted her in the grocery store parking lot.
Jesus.
She must just feel helpless. Like, what can I even do? I've already called the cops. Right? He should still be in prison. He's not. You didn't even tell me he was getting out. Like, no one's protecting me.
At this point, I would be moving. I'd be like, I gotta leave. I'm gonna take my retirement or whatever I got saved up, and I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, because you can't stay here. And I'm not blaming her. Don't get this wrong. This is not a victim blaming thing.
No.
There is lots of people to blame in this story.
You're just saying what you would do.
But exactly.
But how many times have we seen where someone they just can't uproot? Like, I don't know. A lot of people they'd rather die than like move away from where they live and where they love and all their family and all that stuff.
I understand. But I mean, just moving to another county could have really sufficed. I mean, he's homeless. Yeah. How far can he really go?
I personally wish she would have gotten a gun and waited for him to break in and shot his ass. That's what I wish. Or like, I wish she would have shared with her family what was going on. We find out later that she didn't even tell them that he was harassing her and doing all this stuff. Like, because if I'm, her nephew or something like that, I'm going to make sure I'm at her house, like staying at her house for a while and defending her.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure she had someone in her family that would have been willing to do that, and just shot the motherfucker when he busted into your house again and tried to kill you or, beat you or whatever he was going to do. Shoot him.
Yeah.
Or
take his ass out.
Yeah, I mean, he's an old man at this point. Beat him to death with a bat or whatever he's trying to use on her. Take that shit and use it on him.
Right.
I know that we say violence is not the answer. Sometimes it is the answer. In this scenario like
for a
this,
stubborn
it's the
motherfucker
answer.
like
I'm
this.
sorry. What else is? Because the police are not helping. No one's helping her.
That's right.
The only answer for me in this one is violence back. At him.
Yep. If you can't leave, then you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally
because no one's defending her
repeatedly, and
literally no
her.
one's defending her.
No. Yeah. So at this point, MPD claimed that they suspended their investigation into this incident due to multiple attempts to reach Matthews that were unsuccessful.
That don't make no sense.
He don't have a fucking phone. He lives in a tent in an encampment. Like, that. Of course, you're not gonna be able to contact him, quote unquote. Go down there and find him in the encampment or whatever. Like, stake out, find the motherfucker. No. Like, talk to people, do police work.
No, they're saying they couldn't reach Matthews. They couldn't reach Sylvia.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sylvia. Okay.
Yeah, because they couldn't reach Sylvia. They're like, okay, well, maybe
she was
at
work.
Lives.
You know where she works.
Was,
right. How could you not contact her? How hard were you trying?
Were you trying to contact her while she was at work? I mean, that's something too. Maybe she has her phone off while she's at work or whatever, or she's busy.
That just sounds like a bunch of bullshit, right? That sounds like them trying to cover their ass later. I think this is them talking after knowing what happened. Like,
this is a life or death situation. You don't call a couple times and leave a voicemail. This is a life or death situation, and they know that.
Yeah.
He's held corkscrews to her throat. He's hit her in the face with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been stalking her for 20 years. This is not just call, hey, how you doing, Sylvia? Oh, you're still alive. All right, good. Keep an eye out for that Garrett.
Yeah. Yeah, we warned him again. So you should be okay. Right. Like, what?
Blows me away.
Yeah. So even after these October 2021 incidents, the Matthews family said that Sylvia kept them in the dark about Michael Garrett's presence in her life. Quote, I think it was because she knew she was being silenced and she was reaching out and that she was doing everything she was supposed to do and she wasn't getting any help. So why involve your family? Said Sheila Matthews. I think she didn't have any answers to the questions because she was asking them to, and the police couldn't give her answers about why he was out and why he got out and how he was finding her. What should I do? She was trying to protect us all and we couldn't see it. We didn't know, said Daniel McCombs. Even when I saw her the Monday before, there were absolutely no signs, said cousin Regina Taylor. Fuck. Man, what a like tough woman that she's just keeping this. I mean, not to say this is the right thing to do or anything, but like the fact that she was just dealing with this is so fucked, like she didn't even want to burden her family with it.
It's heartbreaking.
It's crazy.
It really is.
Yeah. So on December 3rd, 2021, at around 7:30 a.m., police said that Sylvia Matthews called and reported that Garrett was breaking into her car and trying to break into her home. Yet again, police came and didn't spot him. Later on at 8:44,
guess he's not here.
He's gone. Nothing we could do about it.
He's literally behind the curtains. You see his shoes.
Right.
Oh, I guess he ain't here.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking scary movie every year.
Later on at 8:44 a.m., so a little over an hour later, police said that Sylvia Matthews called again and said she spotted him saying, quote, he's not here right now, but he's on the phone. Police came. So he was on the phone with her. Police came and actually took Sylvia's phone and said to Garrett, you've got to leave her alone. Bro, this hasn't worked. You've done this how many times? You've said to leave her alone. It's clearly not working.
Afraid of y'all.
Clearly not working.
Afraid of y'all.
No. He's dealt with police so many goddamn times at this point. Like he has zero fear of them or anything at this point. So when they said that, he hung up the phone, according to DC police. But by 11:20 a.m., a witness said they heard a person with Garrett's description shouting at Matthews, trying to break in, and heard a fight inside. So guess what? He's back a couple hours later after they warned him again, breaking into her home. And when DC police came in minutes afterwards at 11:20, officers found her near lifeless body at the bottom of the basement. Police found Garrett also in that basement where they arrested him so many years ago, smoking that crack 24 years prior or whatever, 22 years prior.
22 years, yeah.
Yep. And there are indications that Matthews, so Sylvia had been raped inside the home. Her underwear were not on her body. Instead, they were in the living room. There was a trail of blood that went from the room to the basement, according to the prosecutor's report. So you almost wonder if he like threw her down the stairs into the basement.
Oh, I know.
Garrett,
they fought all through that house.
Yeah. Gosh, talk about being failed, right? She called the police multiple times that morning.
Right.
Garrett, through his public offender, pleaded not guilty. His public defender claims that Garrett was coincidentally in Sylvia's neighborhood, heard a commotion. So he's a hero coming to save the day.
Oh, okay.
And went into the basement where he found Sylvia Matthews already bleeding. His public defender argues that there was not enough blood on Garrett to indicate that he used the cane found inside the house that was deemed the murder weapon, as prosecutors allege. Quote, I think it's also an example of the system failing her, and it's not just failing her once, but failing her multiple times, said DC Council Judiciary Chairperson Charles Allen. An individual was arrested multiple times and nothing happened from a prosecution standpoint. And this case is, like we mentioned, this was going on well into 2021. It's so recent that there's not even been a trial scheduled yet, the murder trial, but he's been convicted, or he's been, arrested for this and charged with murder. But the trial is, it's going to be an easy trial. I mean, we already, no jury's not going to convict on this one.
I hope so. This motherfucker, he just needs to go to jail for life or the death penalty, whichever. I mean, at this point.
Yeah.
But he killed her with a cane. That was the.
Yep. That was what the prosecution. Was it like a
cane that had like one of those swords in it?
Is that the cane was used? Well, I mean, he beat her. He raped her, beat her with the cane. This is the way I see it going down. Beat her. He just found whatever was in the house, used that to beat her, and then threw her down the stairs, which ultimately costed her life.
Right. God, what a piece of shit, man. And the excuse, he heard a commotion and ran over. Wow, man. The audacity. I mean, I got to come up with something. I guess that's literally the best defense you could think of. I mean, what else are you going to say? You were there. You were there. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt about that. So, and in 2021, they're going to know if you were there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
God, what a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's amazing. Incredible that he got away with like just doing what he did to her repeatedly. The fact that they let him out, period. The fact that they didn't tell her, and then,
dude, it's a downright nightmare, honestly.
Yeah.
The way that's
really is. It's like a horror movie, dude. It's like Michael Myers just keeps coming back for you. No matter how many fucking locks you put on your door, no matter how many times you call the police, he just keeps reappearing and attacking you.
He just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
I watched this short film yesterday on HBO Max. I think it's called Please Hold. Have you ever watched this?
No.
It kind of reminds me of this. Okay, it's set in the future. It's set in the future where all cops are automated robots that are basically drones, and they have handcuffs on them. They can chase you around. They know where you are. They use facial recognition.
That'll be here in probably 20
years.
It'll
be here. Yeah. It'll be here. Okay, but this movie is based off a man getting arrested by mistake. It's a mistaken identity. Well, so they say. He gets arrested, and the whole thing is automated. He doesn't talk to not one actual person through his whole jail stay. Like in your jail, there's a TV up on the wall, and it's like, would you like an attorney? And it's like, it gives you selections, and he selects one, and it'll be like, that'll be $10,000. And he's like, oh shit. Well, I don't have that. And he's like, public defender. And then a public defender, like this little, it's almost like a paper, the paper clip that used to help you write essays. Like, looks like you're writing an essay. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's like one of those Law and Order scales, and it pops up and it's like, looks like you want to plead guilty. And he's like, no, I don't want to plead guilty. And they're like, we highly recommend you plead guilty. It's like this little thing,
This sounds like a Black Mirror episode, dude.
It is. It's a really short film. I don't want to ruin it, but you guys should watch it. It's called Please Hold, and it's probably 15, 20 minutes maybe max.
You said it's on Netflix?
It's on HBO Max, I believe.
Okay, I have HBO Max. Right on.
Yeah, but you might be able to find it on YouTube or something as well. But yeah, pretty interesting concept of what the future of our justice system might look like.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's
we've talked about how it's such a business, like the plea deal business constantly just they just throw a shitload of charges at you, and then your best option is just to plead guilty and take a plea deal, and it's just on to the next one. It's like the DMV, it's just on to the next. You don't want to get wrapped up in that shit. The whole second, I think it was the third season of Serial was all about that, like the business that is, criminality and the justice system.
Yeah, man, it's scary. It's downright scary, especially if that's the future of it. Not being able to even talk to a person like you, and he had to pay for everything. He had to pay for phone calls by the minute. He had to I don't want to ruin it for you, but you'll see why they are actually doing this to people in the movie. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. I'm loving this.
Speaking of doing this to people, a lot of those major deodorant companies out there, what they're doing to people by putting aluminum and parabens.
That's
in
the
your
real
armpits.
crime.
That's the real crime.
That's the real crime. Seriously, stop putting metal in people's armpits, you psychos.
Yeah.
Should be more like Oh My Gaia, right?
Yeah.
Because Oh My Gaia is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while maintaining effectiveness. At Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural, paraben, and aluminum-free organic ingredients. And guys, there's tons of scents to choose from, regardless of what you like. And we have our very own scent called True Crime Pine that was made especially for true crime guys. But there's tons of other scents like Barbershop and Sailor, Sweet Pea, Pear, Bergamot Amber, Fireside, Honeysuckle, Lumberjack, Leather, Dreamsicle, Coconut, and one of my favorites, Egyptian Musk. And you guys, they also have beard oil and scented oils as well. So you can get the whole set. If you find a scent that you really love, you can make that your scent. Get that scent deodorant, scented oil, beard oil, whatever you want. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CREEPER for 15% off. That's CREEPER for 15% off your order at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. And as always, guys, there's links to Oh My Gaia as well as Tonic CBD right below the description of this episode.
Definitely check out Oh My Gaia and check out Tonic, our other primary sponsor for the podcast. Yes. Tonic CBD is a product that I use every morning and night. I use the different blends, and it just keeps my mood perfect. Consistent. I don't know. I can't explain like how much it's helped me on a daily basis, like to rid of anxiety, and helps with chronic pain and so many uses. But Tonic's farm-to-bottle CBD and botanical blends are uniquely formulated to provide targeted support wherever you need it most. Each and every high-quality ingredient is thoughtfully selected for its ability to support and enhance the benefits of CBD, resulting in a more effective, well-rounded, and consistent wellness solution for your mind and body. They have a bunch of different blends, kind of like Oh My Gaia. They have all those different scents. Tonic has a bunch of different blends for you with different purposes and different ingredients. Chill has been one of my favorite for anxiety. It has ashwagandha, lemon balm, and passion flower to deliver a super calming effect. But what's also really cool is they use black seed oil, which is a super powerful antioxidant, and it's great for your immune system, and just scratches the surface of what superfood can do. So it's really cool to see that they not only just take CBD, but they blend it with really interesting and powerful oils and seed oils and things like that. Yes. It's easy to see to verify the quality of their products as well. There's a microchip on the top of the tube packaging, which you tap your phone on, and it shows you third-party lab reports, product information, details about the farm, and even helpful blog posts to help you with CBD education. So with values rooted in quality, integrity, and sustainability, Tonic is committed to creating plant-based wellness products that are good for the people and good for the planet. Visit Tonic Vibes to learn more and use code CREEPER for 20% off your order. That's tonicvibes.com, code word CREEPER for 20% off.
That's right, guys. Click the link below.
Do it.
You won't regret it. It's just good for balance, like you say. That's what I feel. I feel like when I use it consistently, I feel balanced.
It's the best way to describe it for me because I get these repetitive bad thoughts in my head sometimes. I think it's part of people deal with anxiety and depression and stuff like that. But when I take CBD, especially like a high quality CBD like Tonic, I feel like I have this defense, like this wall where I feel a bad thought coming in, and usually like it used to just get stuck in there and it would play over and over in my head. Now I feel like I feel it coming. I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. And I'm able to fight it off a lot easier with CBD.
Yeah, exactly. Leave me the hell alone.
That's my experience with it. I mean, but you have to try and see how it works for you.
Absolutely. And like you say, there's different blends. They got it for healing. There's a flex for healing. There's the OG, which is great for first waking up, kind of balance.
Grounded is my favorite. I take Grounded at night.
Grounded at night.
Religiously.
Yeah. And then Chill throughout the day. Or if you got, sometimes I like to take Chill before I podcast, honestly. It just kind of helps me stay a little more grounded, because even though, how many episodes have we done? But still, there's some mornings I'll come out here and get ready to record. I'm just like, what if I fuck this whole thing up?
Yeah, feel a little anxious.
It's like, why are you thinking this? Like, you have no reason. You have no logical reason to think that you're going to fuck everything up. Right. But it's just, like you say, it's just human nature. Yeah. And that CBD helps to kind of block those negative thoughts. Yeah. No doubt.
That can help you make all of your days great. And also our Patreon page, if you're bored at work or driving or whatever, and you need more True Crime Guys, we have some of our best content over on patreon.com/True Crime Guys. Our $5 tier is the best in the biz. You get basically everything we create, you get for $5 a month. Or if you pay up front, you get 10% off, and you pay $54 for a year and you're done. And everything we make, you're getting a new episode of something from us under the True Crime Guys umbrella almost every day of the week.
I figured it up. It's 18 releases a month, Lauren. So it's more than every other day you could listen to True Crime Guys, and then that just repeats every single month. So if you listen to a True Crime Guys product or show every other day, you would have 3 or 4 episodes that roll over into the next month still that you haven't heard. So that's what we're going for, guys. We're trying to keep everyone entertained, keep everyone connected. And also, if you feel overwhelmed, check out our YouTube channel. That's where we're posting a lot of the updated stuff, as well as TCG Weekly, which I will be releasing every Sunday night. To look for it on Monday morning on YouTube, but Sunday night it should be on your podcast feed wherever you listen to True Crime Guys, and you can listen to that to kind of stay up to date on everything that we have released, just so you're not missing out on what's going on. And if we have any special releases, limited merch or anything like that, I will also give you guys a heads up on there as well. So if you're staying tuned into TCG Weekly, you'll know everything that's going on in True Crime Guys.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I was going to pull up the tiers and show what you get for the $5 tier on here. Trying to find it, and I was going to share my thing. But
we can put it up on the screen for the video.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, we'll put a screenshot of that.
Yeah. All right.
Right on.
I was going to do
anything else?
I was going to do shout-outs for those that have rated and reviewed this past week real quick. I think there might be a few.
All righty. Yeah, we need to get some, man. Get some reviews. And also, guys, if you like fantasy football's coming back. Check out Full House Fantasy Football Podcast. Lauren and Tori are bringing you guys their hot takes on the trades and shit that's going on right now in the season. They're covering each division in a separate episode.
Yeah, we just covered the AFC East.
That's right.
And this coming week, we were going to cover the NFC East. So we're going to work our way across the U.S. east to west.
Nice.
Yeah,
perfect.
One division per week. All right, I got a couple of reviews to thank people for. We got Jess B 0123 from the United States, says binge worthy, 5 stars, fire emojis. Hey, quick and concise and to the point. Thank you.
That's right.
Then we got a long one from Molly M 10190 in the US, says True Crime Guys is one of my favorite podcasts because of the research that the hosts do. I listen to the new episode the minute it drops, even if it is a case I'm already familiar with, because I know that there will be details added I didn't know about. Thank you guys. Thank you, Molly. Very much appreciate
that.
It.
It's always nice to get acknowledged for all that research, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Those damn crime lines, man.
They're a grind, extensive. Man. I work a 40-hour job, and thankfully I work 4/10, so I'm off on Friday. So basically my Friday is like, I might as well work 5 days. My whole Friday is dedicated to just grinding on the podcast.
Hell yeah. Well, it shows, dude. It absolutely shows.
All right.
Well, all right, guys. Well, like we said earlier, you can check out these all these free episodes on YouTube. Go give us a follow on YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube, everybody. Smash that subscribe button.
That's right. Smash that subscribe button, guys.
I don't want to be that
and
guy.
if you're already on YouTube,
how about just do a nice ginger click on it? That works too. You don't need to smash. You don't need to break your mouse. Relax.
Right. Or your computer.
Yeah.
It's probably not even a touch screen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on your phone, you don't want to damage your phone screen. Just tap subscribe and and if you've been listening for years, it's funny, we got a comment on one of our videos and it's like, I've been listening to you guys since 2016. Crazy to put a face to you. I'm like, you just now looked us up and you've been listening for that long.
Our faces have been out there. You can
can't listen. Yeah, I was about to say I can't listen to a podcast that long and not know what they look like. I'm like, okay, I got to see what this person looks like. At some point.
Well, that's like every case when you're listening to a true crime case. Like, how quickly do you look up the person, what they look like? It's immediately. As soon as their name is said, I'm like, okay, I gotta look this person up. I gotta see what their face looks like. Which is part of the experience with YouTube. When you watch our show now, Michael's wife Kristen is doing a fantastic job. Shout out to her of editing the video and putting in pictures of the criminals, the victims, like different locations, like stuff we talk about. It pops up on the screen, so it's a different experience. If you are a person that listens at work on your desktop, you might as well watch the YouTube version instead of just listening, because now you get more of an experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if you can't have it up on the screen, you could pull it up whenever we're talking about it. And odds are we're going to have a picture of that person or that crime scene or whatever it is there for you guys to kind of be part of the conversation. Yeah. So, all right.
All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next week for part 3, the final chapter of the Stalker series. There's a TikTok case in there, and I'm going to make sure I try and find the case of a woman stalking a man for once. I mean, the first 2, we've done 4 so far, and it's all men stalking women. It's about time to flip that. They're out there. Well, the female stalkers are out there.
Oh, they out there. So they out there. All right, guys.
All right,
we'll see you next week.
Keep creeping.
Keep creeping.
True crime guys. In the desert, we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us, cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you. Sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army. We out here making murder, get murder, get murder. True crime guys. In the desert, we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us, cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you. Sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army. We out here making murder charming.
You hush your mouth, boy.